Hello, welcome family to another book summary. We're looking today at the book Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. I've been excited to share this book actually because I read the previous book. This is now the updated edition and it's talking of the same concepts, just elaborating on them even deeper and providing more relevant examples, more recent examples. It's an amazing read. You've got to get your hands on this book and read it in detail and also keep it so that you can keep referencing a lot of the concepts that she talks about. Okay, so she mentions here that this book helps in changing the way you think to fulfill your potential. Okay, this is, again, like I said, you want to get a copy of this one and you want to read this book. And in today's video, I'm so excited because I get to share, a couple of my findings while reading this book. Okay, so the content, there's 8 chapters. Chapter 1 talks about the mindsets. Again, we'll look at the fixed and the growth mindset. Those are the 2 major mindsets that I've talked about in this whole book. Chapter 2 talks about inside the mindsets. Chapter 3 talks about the truth about ability and accomplishment. 4 talks about sports, the mindset of a champion. 5 talks about business mindset and leadership. Chapter 6 talks about relationships, mindsets in love or not. Chapter 7 talks about parents, teachers, and coaches. Where do mindsets come from? As well as the last chapter, chapter 8, talks about changing mindsets. Welcome once again to the channel. If you're new to this channel, to subscribe, like, share, and press the bell notification button so you don't get to miss any of our videos. Welcome to the family. So chapter 1 talks about the mindsets, okay? So upon observing children working on hard puzzles, okay, Dr. Carol Dweck shares how, she always thought that people would cope with failure, or that they didn't. But she never thought that people would actually love failure or love the concept of getting things wrong and then trying them again, So she actually got to observe some youngsters which were doing puzzles and, the more they would complete these puzzles, they were given harder puzzles, and the others that were excited about a bigger challenge, and knowing that a bigger challenge meant that they had higher potential of failing, she was surprised. How could it that these ones are excited, and if they fail, they're willing to try it again, and the more they don't get it right is the more they're willing to put more energy because now this is intriguing to them. So as she observed these children, it seemed to them that they loved this challenge. Okay, they had the kind of mindset that turns a failure into a gift. And not only did these kids not get discouraged by failure, they didn't even think they were failing. They thought that they were learning. And so the more that they were getting this puzzle wrong, and not getting certain things right, was the more they were, getting inspired that if I try it again, I may just learn something new. So most people, however, think that human qualities are set in stone and that it's either you're smart or you're not. And failure means that you're not smart enough, unfortunately. But what if your intelligence and your personality was something you can develop, And in this book today, we get to learn that that's exactly what you can do. You can develop your intelligence. You can develop your mindset. So we learned here that most people use an IQ test to determine who is smarter, but Dr. Carol Dweck highlights that this test was actually invented. She mentions Alfred Binet for the purpose of identifying children who were not suited to the set study programs, so that new study programs may be set particularly for them. So basically, this test was not to become a standard for who is smart, but it was set to identify those that needed something different. And Alfred Binet also believed that with practice, training, and method, we, as coordinators of such, can manage to increase our attention, our memory, and judgment, and become more intelligent than we were before. So it's not always the people who start out the smartest who end up the smartest. No, because you actually can do something about it. And if you don't do something about your intelligence or your potential for intelligence, it'll stay stagnant. So the more you practice is the more you develop this muscle, and is the more you will grow into becoming more and more wiser. So the view that you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way that you lead your life. Do you believe that you're either smart, born smart or not? Or do you believe that you can actually work on, developing your intelligence and your smartness, if we're to put it like that? Unfortunately though, sometimes this view is taught to us as from a young age by parents, by teachers, and societal expectations. And so we grow up constantly feeling the need to prove ourselves and to prove just how smart we are, and we avoid being perceived as dumb. And so when we believe that our capabilities are set in stone, that is more of a fixed mindset. And there is actually a better way, a growth mindset that believes that you can improve your capabilities through your efforts, strategies, and even help from others. But the growth mindset doesn't unrealistically believe that everyone will be an Einstein, an Elon Musk, a Bill Gates, but that everyone can accomplish much more with time, with practice, with effort. Basically, that everyone can reach their own fullest potential. So it's not about, being exactly like someone else who has achieved or who has reached their fullest attention, but it's about being a better version or the best version of yourself. That's what the growth mindset can assist you to becoming. So with a fixed mindset, people will hide their deficiencies. But with a growth mindset, people seek to overcome their deficiencies. A fixed mindset says, hey, if you have this deficiency, there's something wrong with you. That means you are a failure. That means you are defined by this deficiency. But the growth mindset says, hey, I've got this deficiency, I'm human like everyone else, but it does not have to stand in my way. It does not have to stand in my way of progress. And as a matter of fact, I will overcome this. Okay, and I can take ownership. I can accept that it's there, not try and avoid it. But most importantly, I'm empowered to overcome it. That's what the growth mindset can do. Fixed mindset people will seek friends who will tell them what they want to hear. Tell them that, hey, you're so perfect. You win in everything. Okay, like, oh my goodness, what will the world be without you? Right? That's an exaggeration, but such friends will tell you the things you want to hear. And fixed mindset people thrive in such environments because their can I say ego are being fed, right? They're being fed the kind of information that warms their heart, and they want to stay there. But it's not always genuine. It's not always true. It's not always relevant, and there's still a better way to doing things. With a growth mindset, people will seek friends who will challenge them to grow. So it's not about what it is that you have accomplished yesterday. What did you accomplish today? And how can you use what you have accomplished yesterday as well as today to accomplish even more tomorrow? So growth mindset people will actually challenge you. And it's good to seek such friends that will actually challenge you in a healthy way. So instead of seeking to prove how great you are, which is akin to fixed mindset, you need to simply focus on getting better. That's what the growth mindset is all about. Focus on the process, do the small little steps very well, and see how you develop to being the best version of yourself. And that was chapter 1. Moving on to chapter 2. Inside the mindset. So, chapter 2, Inside the Mindset, we look at how it feels to have these mindsets. We just zoom in to these mindsets in this chapter. And it appears that there are two meanings to ability. There is a fixed ability, okay, that feels it needs to be proven. And then there's a changeable ability that can be developed through learning, okay, that is flexible enough and that can stretch so that when new learnings arrive, it can also adapt to such learnings and be, influenced by such learnings. So that's how the mindsets were born. In fact, when you enter a mindset, you grow or you enter into a new world. You step into the fixed mindset, you are entering into a totally new world. You step into the growth mindset, it's another world. So a world of fixed traits, it says that success is about proving you're smart or you're talented. If you can prove that you're smart and you're talented, that means, hey, you're the best thing that ever happened, right? And you're just great. However, a world of changing qualities is about stretching yourself to learn something new. So your success is measured by your ability to learn and improve and get better. So that's, again, a difference when you enter into these two worlds, the world of a fixed mindset and the world of a growth mindset. Now, here's a question. Is success about learning or proving you're smart? Okay, so if you say success is about learning, you're akin to the growth mindset. If you say success is akin to proving that you're smart, and telling everyone, hey, this is the answer, correcting everyone, that's akin to a fixed mindset. So we learn a story of, or an account of Benjamin Barber, who was a political theorist. And he says that I don't divide the world into the weak and the strong, or the successes and the failures. I divide the world into the learners and the non-learners. If you can learn, you can improve, you can get better. If you cannot learn, all right, you're stagnant, you're stuck, okay, into whatever it is that you've always known. So the learning, brings about new discoveries. There's a bit of risk, but it's always worth it and it leads to success. Whereas the non-learning is all about what is it, that I know now? How can I even defend this? You end up even defending because you don't want to expose that you don't know more than what you already know. So we get reminded of how babies don't worry about making mistakes or humiliating themselves. No, it's okay. They'll just laugh it off. They walk, they fall, they get up, they just barge forward. But what puts an end to the spirit of learning is the fixed mindset. So as they grow and they develop a fixed mindset, it changes a lot of things about them. So which would you rather choose? Loads of success or loads of challenge? So how do you choose friends or mates? One who always makes you feel good about yourself, or one who challenges you and stretches you to being a better version of yourself? Okay, so if you choose friends based on who is saying the things that you want to hear, or if you choose friends based on who can challenge you more, it'll set the difference as to how well you succeed as well. So note, by the way, people with a growth mindset don't just seek challenge, they thrive in it. The bigger the challenge, the more they stretch. And so fixed mindset people, on the other hand, believe that if you have ability, you don't need to learn. You should have it naturally. A test score is forever. If you go and take a test and you fail the test, that must mean that you are a failure. Okay, and so because a test score is forever, and you can measure the fixed ability right now and project it into the future. So, for example, you're able to take this test, and if you failed it now, you know that even next week you're gonna fail this test. And because you're gonna be a failure of tests. It's not about growing and how potential can be developed over time. It's about what you know now, and based on what you know, this is how far you can accomplish in life, which is not necessarily true. So we see again some differences between the two mindsets. Mindsets, like we say, they change the meaning of failure. Okay, so the fixed mindset will say failure means that a fail means that you are a failure, whereas the growth mindset will say, hey, a failure means that there's something that you didn't know, right? Learn from it and make sure that you will know more for next time. So we look at the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. The fixed mindset transforms meaning from I have failed to I am a failure. Okay, so it ends up labeling you a failure. So one fail or failure or loss means that you are a loser. It's not about, hey, you may have had a bad day, but no, if you have failed, that means you must be the loser. And the fixed mindset prefers to be above failure. If you think there's a possibility for you to fail at something, that you're not going to do it altogether because, hey, that could just mean that you are now a failure. And what if you don't get another opportunity to redeem yourself? That means the last remark would mean that you are a failure. And that means you'll always be a failure. On the other hand, the growth mindset sees failure, it says failure is equally painful, but it doesn't define you. You get hurt, you're human too, but it doesn't need to define you. Okay, it's not the who you are. Okay, it should be separated from who you are. And the growth mindset also believes that one failure is an indicator of where you need to improve, and that believe that failure is part of the process of learning. The growth mindset also believes that if you worked hard to be where you are, it's not about you being special and having special abilities and talent, It is about that hard work, okay? Because equally capable people have accomplished much. And so you don't need to necessarily be special to accomplish. No, be who you are, but still accomplish. Work hard on accomplishing and reaching your goals. Another difference between the growth and the fixed mindset. But now the problem is, as a society, we value natural, effortless accomplishment over achievement through effort. So we have a way of just valuing those that are always just winning, or they are winning at this phase because what they know is going to reveal itself when they have to learn at a level higher than what they already know, and then things get a bit uncomfortable then. So the growth mindset people, however, believe that even geniuses have to work hard for their accomplishments or for their achievements. The growth mindset says it's not about what it is that you were born with, okay? It's about that determination, that hard work, okay? Do it. You can get things accomplished that way. So moving on to chapter 3. So chapter 3, the truth about ability and accomplishment. In this chapter, Dr. Carol Dweck shares something which was quite thought-provocative. She mentions here that if we were to take the time to think about this for a moment, that when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb and made many attempts towards progress, was he alone? And you stop to think, was he alone? He's the one that gets all this credit. We speak so highly of what he has accomplished, but was he alone? And so Dr. Carroll mentions that it may appear like that as the end result is what society focuses on. So society is a way of just saying, what is the bottom line? At the end of the day, this is how this got accomplished. And so this, out of the entire soccer team, the one who made the one who kicked that ball and led to it being a goal is the one that gets the credit. But what about the entire process? Everyone that was involved, into bringing the ball towards where it needed to be in order for the goal to be made. Society has a way of placing so much praise on the end result and the person who's in charge of that end result. However, Dr. Carol Dweck mentions here that Thomas Edison actually had about 30 assistants, which were including trained scientists, people that were experts, often working around the clock in a corporate state-of-the-art laboratory. And so it took time and effort and resilience, but it also took teamwork. It also took, working together, sharing ideas. It was not a pursuit done by only one individual. So we learned here that the fixed mentality versus the growth mentality becomes clearer in a university, for example, as they now clearly pull apart. When you're in high school, even primary, sometimes, like what you're learning or what you are challenged at is, you feel as if, okay, you can manage this, right? And so it can be disguised whether or not you are of the fixed mindset or of the growth mindset. However, at university, there's a way where these types of mindsets pull apart, because a different kind of challenge is introduced at university. And so fixed mindset learners have a tendency to give up. Studying used to be so easy back in high school, and now I'm in university and it's becoming so hard, right? Is it because I'm now dumber than I was before, right? And on the other hand, the growth mindset learners increase in their grades because they've been trying, they've been, getting better, they've been applying effort and consistency, and now come university time, it's a matter of continuing what they've been doing, and they see results because all of that hard work which was put in, it does pay off. And so the growth mindset learners may be as smart as the fixed mindset. It's not to say that they're smarter, no, they may be as smart, but they have something unique. They have, effort. They put in effort, and because of that, they're able to accomplish a lot more. So we see how fixed mindset people can be as smart as growth mindset people, or even smarter, but they lack the necessary effort which is mostly required, to continue excelling. So it's not just about, what is it that I know and can have accomplished, but how are you putting effort? How are you putting in the hard work? Are you putting it in? Are you putting enough? Okay, so the growth mindset will do that, and paired with the effort, that's been done, greater things are able to be accomplished. So we learned also in the section about finding your brain. If you think about this for a minute, students with the fixed mindset will do almost anything for a good grade, except take charge of the process to make sure it happens. They'll do anything except taking charge of that process to make sure that it happens. So the big question then comes, can everyone do well? Is the possibility there for everyone to do well? Can you march into the worst high school, for example, in your state and teach the students college calculus? Interestingly, however, this has been done numerous times. It's important to ask the right questions when pursuing something. Instead of saying or asking, can I do it, right? Can I teach these learners? Can I make an impact? Instead of asking yourself that question, rather ask yourself, how can I make an impact? How can I lead this team to the best pathway possible? How can I do things better? If you ask that way, you are preparing yourself for answers you may be receiving. So when dealing with kids, never ask, will they learn? Rather ask how they can learn this best. And there's also a lot of intelligences out there that are being wasted by underestimating students' potential to develop. So sometimes you find that people that are in charge of these young learners, they don't really fully believe in their capability. And so they end up spoon feeding them when they have to learn. They end up, giving them just enough to get by. But if you understand the potential that's in your learners, you'll be willing to challenge them a lot more. And so that is what we see in this section in chapter 3. Moving on to chapter 4. And chapter 4, sports, the mindset of a champion. So we learned here that sports is where the term "a natural" comes from. People believe in talent when it comes to sport. You are talented, you get born tall, and because of your good height, and certain physique advantages that you may have, you must have been born to play basketball. An interesting example is shared of Billy Bean, who was the highest scorer on his high school baseball team. And interestingly, because though he had champion ability, Billy Bean seemed to lack the mind of a champion. So he had the ability of being a champion, but he didn't have the mindset of a champion. Interesting, hey? Never thought that there was also a mindset in addition to that ability. And so that mindset is the growth mindset. The mindset of a champion is a growth mindset. Billy Bean believed that he should never fail. And since failure cannot be completely avoided, no matter how well you try, no matter how good you are, you can't always avoid failure all the time. And so each fail at a game slowly led to his downfall. He didn't know how to fail. So each and every time he would fail, it was taking away from him, and his confidence, and he was feeling more and more labeled as a failure. So he was not seeing what he could learn, but he was seeing himself as the failure. Fortunately, he later learned about this shortcoming. He then went on to be the general manager of a baseball team, and he led his team to numerous victories simply by focusing on mindset rather than mere talent. So yes, talent is important, but you know what? You need to have that mind of a champion to be able to win. Now the problem with the natural talent is that it comes and goes. It's not always sustainable, and especially not on its own. So, now you see it and now you don't. Many people have risen against all odds to succeed and even surpass the natural capability. Or the naturally capable. It proved that it's not a prerequisite for success that you are naturally capable. You can accomplish greatness even though you're not naturally gifted in certain things. Numerous athletes have proven that you can become the fastest person, even though you don't really have strong legs. You can accomplish a lot of things even though there are certain odds that are against you. So it's best to focus on grit and determination, as this becomes more sustainable. If you have the grit and you have the determination and you're willing to work hard, you enter into the pathway of sustainability. Now, a couple of examples are shared, of sports athletes, sports stars. We learn of Mohammed, who at 22 years old, he beat the reigning champion Sonny Liston by taking the time to study his mindset and preparing himself to have a mindset that will overcome the mindset of Sonny Liston. We also get to see or hear or learn of Michael Jordan, the best basketball player of all time, who was cut off, by the way, from his high school basketball team, but he decided to grow more and more determined, to work harder and harder at getting better at the sport. And he worked extremely hard to earn the title of beating or of being the best. So we also learn of Wilma Rudolph, who started off as a premature baby, but later became became titled the fastest woman in the spirit of relay or in the world. for all her gold medals in relay and in other kind of sporting activities, he was able to gain this title of being the fastest woman in the world. Though when he started off, he was pretty small. So natural ability doesn't make you a champion. There's a lot more that you need to do if you want to be a champion. And moving on to chapter 5, business mindset and leadership. Okay, in chapter 5, business mindset and leadership, it turns out, by the way, that the fixed mindset can also be seen from how businesses conduct themselves. So it's not just a mindset that controls certain things in your personal life or when you travel, but it can be as much as, day-to-day operations of the business. Now, an example is shared of a company that took pride in sourcing natural talent. They would deliberately go out in search of natural talent. They believe that if they had enough natural talent, even only natural talent, surely they would excel in all they do. And so they hired people with fancy degrees and paid them well. But soon enough, employees started focusing on looking like natural talent, like the untouchables, and acted like they were above all competition. Without even trying, this led to the company's demise. And so, the kind of people that were in that company were the people that were focused on, selfish kind of reason, because it's reasons that are not necessarily benefiting the entire company. But they started walking around as untouchables and acted like they were above, all competition. So it's better to praise in business, it's better to praise successful effort against all odds than to praise natural talent in favorable conditions. So that one person who comes on a rainy day and says, you know what, I'm here today, but I had to overcome all these obstacles to arrive here today. That person gets more pride than the one who will just come out of the car and be ready. So get this. People with a fixed mindset are prone to lying just to maintain the narrative that they're genius. So they're always under pressure to prove to the world that they're genius. And so if that is not the case at some point, they lie about it. And get this, leaders with a growth mindset are not afraid to look failure in the eye or in the face and accept it for what it is, believing that they will succeed and go ahead and put effort and not try to prove, that they're better than others, but rather always trying to improve. Get this. Fixed mindset leaders live in a world where some people are superior and others are inferior. They use their authority to enforce this. They even take pride in a company falling apart in their absence. Surely it must mean that I'm such a great leader if once I leave the company, everything falls apart. Those are fixed mindset people. And so, it makes them feel important when that happens. But we'll also learn that the fixed mindset is constantly seeking validation from others. So you need to learn to validate yourself and have intrinsic drive to achieve your greatness. So are managers born or made? Okay, I'll leave that question to you. If you say they are born, by the way, you are more akin to the fixed mindset. If you said they are made, you are more akin to the growth mindset. And when you train others to be great, don't judge people based on how they are at the start of training. Believe in their process, empower for continued growth. And that is all for chapter 5. So, chapter 6, relationships, mindsets in love or not. You need to get this again. People with both mindsets have stories of dealing with rejection. So, whether you have the mixed fixed mindset or you have the growth mindset, you will have a story of rejection in your life at some point. Although everyone at one time or another had been in love and had been hurt, what a difference, and a dramatic difference it is how people deal with such failure or with such, rejection. The fixed mindset people, they feel judged and labeled by the rejection. The problem was with me. I am the problem. I deserve such things, and I attract such things, and this is how people see me. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. So they feel a permanent labeling due to a failure that happens in their lives. Whereas the growth mindset people, they don't feel that failure is something that's permanent. Definitely not something that you can label yourself by. No, those are the growth mindset people. Again, the fixed mindset people, they hope to wound the person who hurt them, as they don't see another way of healing. So you hurt me, I need to find a way, to inflict a wound on you because this is how you made me feel, because you hurt my feelings, right? That's what they do. Whereas the growth mindset people, they feel that the goal is to forgive, right? If you are able to forgive, you regain your power, you regain control of the situation. Then if you decide you're not going to forgive, you're going to, you're going to bear grudges and you're going to seek to do revenge. And one more difference, we find that fixed mindset people, their goal is revenge. Whereas growth mindset people, they seek to, forgive and be able to start afresh on a cleaner slate. And I quote, sometimes we are not even sure it's an ability. When we see people with outstanding interpersonal skills, we don't really think of them as gifted. We think of them as cool people or charming. As a society, we don't understand relationship skills, yet everything is at stake in people's relationships. Fortunately, however, nowadays we have leaders like Daniel Goleman who have written about emotional intelligence, the intelligence that allows you to be able to better relate with other people and to better relate with yourself, better understand other people, better understand yourself, and be mindful of the actions that you do, as they have a way of affecting other people. So with this, the fixed mindset people, they feel that if you have to work at something, it wasn't meant to be, right? They believe that things are meant to be. And if you're busy working hard, to accomplish something, then it wasn't meant to be. And, again, fixed people feel that, or fixed mindset people feel that couples should agree on everything. If we love one another, we should agree on everything, can't we? Whereas the growth mindset people feel that choosing a partner is choosing a set of problems. There are no problem-free candidates, and so once you have made that choice, you will have some candidates to deal with. And so, it's important for you to be mindful of that as well. So, the trick is to acknowledge each other and acknowledge each other's limitations and build, your relationship further from there. Okay, so we're talking now about relationships and these mindsets. So if you're able to do that, and you'll be more empowered, you'll have better understanding, and you will be able to become a better version of yourself. Even better yet, understanding the mindset can help you even when you are deciding on who to become your life partner. So for example, if you see someone who's of a fixed mindset, you can raise awareness of that, or you can actively seek for people with a growth mindset, and have people that are going to constantly empower you to become greater than what you are. Okay, so the more you attract such, again, is the more, you start to grow yourself, because that ability, the ability which taking that risk and challenging yourself brings, you have that in abundance. So my favorite in this book, my favorite chapter is chapter 8, which talks about changing mindsets. I love it because even if you were to discover that, you have a fixed mindset, like I just realized about myself, is that you can actually do something about it. You don't have to be stuck in one particular mindset. If you're in the growth, if you have a growth mindset, great, stay there. But if you find that you have a fixed mindset, chapter 8, gives that hope. It gives those good news. It bears those good news by saying that you can change your mindset. So Dr. Carol Dweck mentions that in her work she sees a lot of young children, bright and resourceful children who become paralyzed by setbacks. So everything should go very well, but immediately when a setback arrives, they become paralyzed by that, and affects them so deeply, so much. So they have to take the simplest actions to make things better, but they don't. The setback has just made them incapable, of even moving forward, because it affected them that much, that deeply. So these are the young children with the fixed mindset. When things go wrong, they feel powerless and incapable. Once again, the more you read the book, is the more it highlights to you and it reveals to you whether or not you are of the fixed mindset or of the growth mindset. But you can do something about this. So get this: change isn't like surgery. It's not a thing where you can just go in bed and sleep and have people work on you and then the change has taken effect. No, even when you change the old beliefs that are not that are not serving you anymore, it won't be like exchanging a worn out hip and replacing it with a better one. No, the new beliefs a lot of times will take their place alongside the old ones. So you find that you have both of these beliefs, but you need to empower what you want to dominate. So if you want the old beliefs to dominate, you need to empower them. If you want the new beliefs to dominate, you need to empower them. So you have the control. It is, once again, a chapter that just makes you feel like, oh, okay, it's gonna get better. Because as I read this book, I just felt that I have a fixed mindset, and as I read more and more and deeper into the different chapters, it revealed that to me, and I just feel bad. But at the same time, chapter 8 comes in and says, hey, you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to label yourself with that. You can do something about it. You can progress and become better, because of this. So in other words, you can use the shortcoming as a gift to empower you towards your success. So thank you, family. Thank you once again. It has been lovely having you join the discussion. Do share your views in the comment section below. Do subscribe if you have not. We will be looking at a lot of such awesome reads. Right. Thank you once again. See you next time.